So now what? Well, the season goes on. Good win by the Rangers yesterday, and now they face the two teams ahead of them in the wild card race. We talk about that next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Yeah, so if those three guys are contributing, in addition to Corey Seager, things are going pretty well for the Rangers, as they did yesterday in a 10-4 victory to avoid a sweep in Toronto. Hi there, and welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. I'm John Radigan. Jeff Wilson's there. The Queen, Kat, is over there. So we've got the whole crew back together as we sit here and talk Rangers with you for the next hour. Mista's already in the chat, and we appreciate that, and we'll take any of the others of you who want to weigh in on this series in Kansas City. And it's, all year long, Jeff, we've been talking about how they're, what Mista's saying there. The next game, we've seen this before. The next game, they'll struggle to get 2 runs, right? It's the offensive consistency just hasn't been there. Pitching consistency has. Offensive consistency hasn't. The reality is, there's no real formula, right? There's no real recipe for this. But if there was one, yesterday, offensively, yesterday might be it. Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, the veterans, and the future, Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter, all hitting home runs. When we started the 2024 season, when Seager and Semien were coming off second and third in the MVP voting, and Wyatt Langford was the hottest guy in spring training, and Evan Carter had done what he did in the playoffs in 23. When we started 24, we thought yesterday's game would be the prototype, right? That those 4 men would be, and then everybody else just kind of be there and support what they're doing.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because as you were launching into this, I was going to say, this is from opening day of 24.
Yeah.
That's the way it was supposed to be. And it wasn't for a variety of reasons. Wyatt, while talented, was a guy who had 161 minor league at-bats.
Yep.
And needed time to adjust. Evan, of course, had the back issues. Corey was coming off a hernia and started slow. And then his season was cut short by a second hernia. And then Marcus just
faded.
Yeah, he just wasn't there pretty much all season. He's been worse this season. So you see a game like yesterday, and you're like, aha, that's it.
That's what it's supposed to look like.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And even the runs that weren't produced by home runs came with like some timely 2-out hits, some good at bats, shortening down 2 strike hits, and it's like, where's this been? But Mista's right. We've seen this a lot of times, and we've. It's like, this has got to be the win, right? I mean, last homestand, it was, after the Phillies sweep, the Rangers had this giant comeback against the Diamondbacks.
Right.
Laid a total egg the next day.
Right.
And then, so what's going to happen today after this great win in which all the elements seem to work together? Is this going to be a dud, or is this going to be the start of something? And we've said it all season. I don't want to say we're grasping for straws, but we kind of are. It's like, gosh, is this the win? Is this the win? Is this the win? And at this point, with 24 games of evidence, it's like,
right.
You can't have a lot of hope that this is going to happen.
No, you can't. There's no reason to believe they're going to sustain this, and yet there are players there who we know are capable of sustaining this. And so that's where that hope kind of tickles at you. And really, unbelievably, the pitching has stayed strong, with the obvious exception of the closer and the late inning, high leverage situations for this team, in which the Rangers are still, second most blown saves in the game, second most bullpen losses.
Right.
And that's not, that's not something to be proud of. But even Bruce Bochy, he was asked about it this weekend, and it's like, okay, can this be the one? He's like, kind of like what you just said. You've been talking about that all year. We've been talking about that all year. I don't know. I mean, we hope so.
Yeah. One thing from what I read the coverage from Toronto is that the quotes afterwards seemed to be a little more pointed about the urgency factor, and Corey Seager is the one who basically said, we gotta win this series. This is a huge week for us with the Royals and the Guardians, the teams ahead of the Rangers in the wild card standings. He said, we've got to win this series.
Yeah,
and to hear Corey say that is significant, and it shows that there's now some urgency. Maybe there's always been urgency, but now it's being vocalized, and there's just no way around it. They have 7 games. Their next 7 games are against the 2 teams ahead of them in the wild card.
Right,
and they can turn it around. I mean, look, the wild card standings, Rangers are 5.5 back. 2 weeks ago, after they beat the Yankees in the second straight game, they were a half a game back.
Right.
So in the span of 10 games, 11 games, they lost five games in the standings. Well, guess what? It can turn around that fast.
Right.
That's baseball, and the opportunity we were talking about all day yesterday in the postgame show. The opportunity is right here. This is it.
Yeah,
this really is. They got to do it now. This is I think safe to say it's a make or break week.
Yeah, it is. It's a week when by the end of this week, or by next Sunday, I guess, if you call that the start of next week, I think we'll know. Whether we'll be certain if it's time to wave the white flag, right? If they lose if they lose both series, we're waving the white flag.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're falling further and further behind the teams that are directly in front of them. Not to mention what might be happening with the Astros and the Mariners and the Yankees. Yankees coming off a sweep of this past weekend. Who'd they sweep? Somebody. Anyway, Cardinals. They swept the Cardinals. And so,
I'm sure they did a hell of a job.
Yeah, they were. I'm sure they were great, but they swept.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's one of the reasons. Even with a win, the Rangers, they ain't gaining any ground. They're 5-11 in the month of August. 5-11 since the trade deadline. That's just not going to cut it. One of the other things that Corey Seager, and I love that he was not only available yesterday, but he said a lot, which he doesn't always. Sometimes with Corey, we both know it. We've interviewed him multiple times. Sometimes it's just kind of baseball speak, right? But he was saying stuff yesterday, and one of the things he brought up was the fact that Marcus Semien is really special, but so you get to that chicken and the egg thing. So did the hitters respond to the pitching, or did the pitchers respond to the hitting? Here's what Corey Seager thought about the performance by Nathan Eovaldi yesterday. I think it's exactly what Evo did today. He's asked what do you need? He said it's exactly what Evo did today. He went out, set the tone, threw a really good game. It's exactly what we need in this moment. You need it from so many guys.
Yeah.
But Nate, who better, and we talked about it on the postgame show yesterday, who better than Nasty Nate, Big Game Nate, to do that, to sort of set that tone. And I think since June, Eovaldi and the team is undefeated in games that Eovaldi pitches.
Yeah, and that includes the last Monday start where he wasn't great.
Right.
When Arizona got him for 5 runs, came back and won that game. But their last 3 wins have been in his starts, I believe is accurate.
Yeah.
And so that means there have been a lot of other losses mixed in there.
Right.
So it starts tonight. Jack Leiter needs to be effective. He doesn't have to go out there and pitch 7 scoreless innings, but he can't let things get away from him. He needs to probably go a little bit deeper in the game because it is 4 straight. It's actually more than 4 straight. The Rangers are in a long stretch here without an off day.
Yeah.
So innings from the rotation are critical. He's got to get it started. You're going to get a DeGrom start in this series, and he was good the other night against the Blue Jays, only going 5 innings, so he needs to go deeper in the game. And that goes for all of them. Patrick Corbin needs to rebound Thursday in the finale.
Yes, he does.
That could be a huge game. That could be a series deciding game, and then they get to come home. Guardians, the other team ahead of them in the wild card standings. You have Eovaldi to start that series. I mean, there's just things that are just lining up, John.
Yeah,
and the whole the control your destiny crowd. The Rangers control their destiny.
Yeah, and who would have thought 2 series against American League Central Division teams in middle August would, at the beginning, who would have thought they'd be this significant? But they're kind of make or break series that the Rangers are faced with. And then there will be more of those because they've got the Astros yet for 6, right? Those could be make or break. They're 5.5. No, they're 7. What are they?
I don't know.
Behind the Astros.
Not important.
Put those standings up again, would you, Cat? They're there. What is it against the? Okay, yeah. So anyway, yeah, they'd be within a game and a half or whatever. So there's still an opportunity, but you got to play. You got to play like you did yesterday, and you've got to pitch better at the end of games than you did. But I think that those young guys, Carter and Langford, if they, Jeff, can, find some confidence from what has happened. Really, Carter's been great since he came back. And, Wyatt, he just hasn't broken through or broken out this year.
Yeah, and I guess if you want to pin your hopes on him, September of last year, he was the
AL
player of the month in the American League. He ended that home run drought last week, and he's since been getting on base, getting hits, hit the big home run. I mean, that was a bomb yesterday.
Yes, it was.
You like. If you just want to go with what have you done for me lately, you got to like what Wyatt has done. Got to really like what Simeon's done. He was back in Toronto where he had a lot of success, although that crazy 21 season they played in 3 different ballparks.
Yeah.
But opening day the next year was in Toronto, and Marcus received his Silver Slugger Award and his Gold Glove before I believe it was before the opener, and the crowd went crazy. They still appreciated what he does, and I'm sure he felt good and comfortable there yesterday. Well, hopefully he feels good in Kansas City too.
Right.
And maybe this wrist thing, he got hit on it's hit on the wrist and hits a home run later in the game Friday, takes the day off Saturday, and then homers again yesterday and has 3 hits and is on base 4 times. So maybe it's the start of something. And we've been saying that, he had that nice spurt from, let's say, June 1 to the All-Star break.
Yep.
And then it's fizzled. Maybe now he's on his way back. You hope. If you're a Rangers fan, you're a diehard, and you're Mr. Optimism, these are all the things that are lining up for you to make that happen.
Sure. And Simeon's another one of the guys that Seager talked about in the clubhouse after the game yesterday. And he talked about the fact that any young player needs to look at the warrior that this guy is and realize, he got hit in the hand. I mean, wrist, hand, it's all,
whatever,
the same spot right there. And it's very difficult. Any baseball player knows it's so difficult. And even Marcus admits he's maybe at 75%, right? So yet he's doing what he's doing. And Seager points it out with purpose so that all the young guys maybe will be inspired by, look, that's how much this guy, with his stature and his paycheck and everything else, that's how much he wants it. That's how much he's giving. And maybe, that's one of those things that can help this team galvanize. They still just haven't really connected, it doesn't seem.
It is nice for the young guys to have an example like that. This is a pretty veteran team, too.
True.
They're speaking basically.
Jock Peterson, Rowdy.
Basically, you're speaking to Langford and Carter when it comes to the lineup. Maybe Cody Freeman if he's going to see more time. I would say Smith is young, yes, but kind of established. So, but it is good. Everybody needs to pick up on it. If somebody is going to sacrifice like that, play with a wrist that's swollen that had to have X-rays that fortunately wasn't fractured. That's got to be it's got to be kind of an inspirational thing. I don't want to say Willis Reed because it's not quite Willis Reed stuff yet.
Yeah.
But it's something like that. It's definitely something that can inspire a team that needs inspiration.
Yes, and who you could compare it to, perhaps much more realistically, would be Adrian Beltre,
Sure.
who did that, and the guys knew it. Adrian never wanted to talk about it, but the guys knew it, and he'd go out there with those kinds of injuries for weeks, months at a time, and he was truly an inspiration in that regard. So anyway, maybe that's the formula. We've got more to talk about, though, as we get you set for this Royals series. The Rangers really need to win the series. They do. That's just where it stands right now. So let's talk about that next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. Oh, and let us talk about our friends at Game Time. Nicole owes me an email. I'm sure I'll get it later today. But I will say this. It doesn't matter what's in that email because I know what Game Time is and what Game Time does. It's such a great secondary market ticket app. And you can get tickets anywhere you go. If you're still in vacation season, you can get tickets wherever the shows are. Wherever you go, you can get them from the Game Time app. You go to that app, and it will not only it'll show you the actual map of the arena, and it's like a blueprint of the arena, right? And so you can decide which seat you like best for the price. And the price isn't much more because of all the fees. The fees are very minimal at Game Time, less than anybody else. It's guaranteed. It's such a great app. It's a great place to get your tickets. So you use the code DLLS at gametime.com and get $20 off your first purchase at Game Time.
Yeah, and I don't know if concert venues let you take your own coolers.
Some do, like those outdoor venues.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So guess what? If you want to be the star of the concert after you get your tickets from Game Time, you need to have a Rugged Road cooler because they are going to keep all your stuff ice cold. It's a durable cooler in case some of the concert goers get a little rowdy, and it's lightweight in case at the end of the show your back is giving out on you. No problem because Rugged Roads have got you covered there too. Perfect for outdoorsmen who like to go fishing or floating the river or anything like that because they float these coolers. And then as I always say, perfect for the sports family.
Yep.
With the youths out at the fields every weekend. So ruggedroadoutdoors.com. Use the code DLS and you will get 10% off your order.
Here's one of the things we know about 4-game series in baseball. They're very difficult to win, right? Because you have to win 3, obviously. You have to win 3 out of 4. It's in most cases, teams go into it going, if we split, we're probably feeling okay, right?
Yeah,
It's hard to win 3 out of 4 games. Rangers can't, and I know won't. Like, they're not going in thinking we can, we're okay if we split. It can't be that way. They have to win the series. At this point, and I see somebody in the chat talking about Coach Bassick, in his little pep talk yesterday, and what he was talking about in that pep talk, which was very good. Find it on social media if you haven't seen it yet. But what he was talking about was one game at a time, one pitch at a time. I want you guys mentally tired after every game. He did a very nice speech. It feels like there was probably some previous coaches of his at the major league level who he was channeling in that speech. But the point is, they're not thinking they got to win 3 out of 4. They're not thinking they got to win 4 out of 4. Hopefully, they're thinking about the first pitch they're going to see tonight.
Yeah, and that's a solid approach. You can't look too far ahead because then you start worrying about things and the scoreboard watching and all of that. Probably a little too early for that. I mean, I remember asking guys like Michael Young and veteran guys like, God, they kept saying in late August, we got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Like, well, when do you not have time?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, in last 2 weeks,
2
last
weeks
3
of
weeks,
September,
like, come on, man. But that's a good approach because they're going to have their hands full. Again, they've had success in recent seasons at Kansas City, so that's good. Every season is a new season, though, so you can't rely on that. They face Michael Wacha tonight, a native Texan, and a changeup guy. That's his pitch. He pitched effectively against the Rangers earlier in the year, so it's going to be tough. And the Royals aren't laying down either. They got goals too, and they recognize on their end that this is a big series.
Yep.
Because they can basically get rid of the Rangers with a good series.
Sure.
So it'll be interesting to see. They're not going to be the only fired up team.
No, not at all.
And so from first pitch, be dialed in.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. The Rangers have a good record historically, especially recent history, right, against the Royals. But the Royals are the home team, so that gives them an advantage. Look at the pitching matchup for the entire series. Jeff mentioned Leiter against Wacha tonight, and then Merrill Kelly against Seth Lugo, and Lugo's always he's always a tough one for the Rangers.
Oh, he shoved, as they say, in what was it, June?
Yeah.
But he's had a bumpy road here of lately. I think he signed an extension recently, so he's going to be around for a while. But maybe he's ripe for giving up some runs. But he throws about 100 pitches, and he mixes it up really well. Fastball's not overpowering at all, but he commands it when he's on top of his game. He commands all of his pitches and can make life really, really hard. He was the runner-up last year for the American League Cy Young.
Yeah.
Kelly, I'd say 2 good, 1 not so good so far in his 3 Ranger starts. This is why they got him to pitch in these big games. And, the Diamondbacks, Riders, and such swear that this is a big game guy.
Yeah.
And, so that's good to have on your side. DeGrom, of course, is a stud. And then Corbin is the one that we're starting to worry a little bit about.
Yep.
He's done so much for the team and really been such a pleasant surprise. But lately, it's been a little hairy. So he needs to rebound as well.
He does, and he and Lorenzen have almost the same record and almost the same ERA. So that could equal or balance that game out just a little bit. But it's going to be a great series, or at least we hope it will be. And yes, I think that there were a couple of comments in the chat about how Wacha shut them down. We said how Lugo shut them down. So it's time for the Rangers to not forget those things and learn, put into practice what they learned from facing those guys previously this year.
It's probably easier to find the pitchers who didn't shut the Rangers down.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
And strangely, Jose Barrios was one of them yesterday.
Yep.
Hey, great. It's just hard to believe that we're still talking about this offense.
Oh, it is.
And it hasn't just been since, the start of this season. It was last season as well, almost all of last season. It's just like, what's going on here? And that's ultimately what is going to be addressed in the offseason more than anything. Yes, the Rangers are going to need some starting pitching, probably load up on some bullpen guys, but this offense is not going to look the same. The group of position players is going to look different, and it's because they can't keep rolling out the same guys. They have no choice now but to do it and to hope. And as Mike Maddox said early in the season, hope's not a very good strategy.
Nope.
So you hope that for this last month or 6 weeks that these guys figure it out. But even if they do, this offseason, you're going to see some guys moved out, some different guys come in.
Sure.
Kind of reshape the lineup and what you want from your offense and the guys who you think can do it.
Yeah, and you'll have some natural attrition from, especially as it pertains to the pitching rotation, the pitching staff. John Gray has probably thrown his last pitch as a Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
Tyler Mahle, I don't know if he's going to make it back this year. He may have thrown his last pitch as a Texas Ranger, right? So there's 2 guys that, at the beginning of this year, you had penciled into your starting rotation.
Yeah.
But again, Leiter and when you start with DeGrom and Eovaldi, first of all,
great shape.
You're in great shape. Leiter, you're better, you're older, and then who knows if if Kamar Rocker is able to stay down at the AAA level for the rest of this year, or maybe just get a September call up,
Yeah.
I think that will serve him extremely well. I hope that they don't have to press him into service prior to that. I think he just needs that seasoning time.
Yeah. And he honestly, and we've said this, he needed it at the start.
He did.
He didn't
He
need to
did.
be in the major leagues.
No.
But, injuries dictated otherwise. Although, again, I said it then, I'll say it now. Still should have gone with Adrian Hauser. But they didn't. Anyway, he has a chance to be great. I mean, you take a guy third overall because you think he's going to be spectacular.
Yeah.
And so the stuff's there. He's shown some pitchability.
Flashes. Yep.
He's added a cutter, so he seems to understand a little more about pitching, or he's been told he needs to do a little more. You can't just get by with the 2 pitches. So we'll see how that one plays out next spring. I would suspect he'll be in the rotation, and then maybe you do get an opportunity to re-sign Merrill Kelly. Maybe the Rangers can find another gem, one of their mid-tier starters that they seem to have had so much success with. Really, I guess you could start with Mike Minor was the first one that they just hit on. A guy who they didn't sign for a ton of money, and he came out and was really, really good for a couple of years. They followed that up with Lance Lynn and then Kyle Gibson. Guys who they just scouted, the pro scouts have found something that they've liked, and they've turned out to be economical, good values. So maybe that's where they go. They're going to have some money, though. They are going to have money.
They will.
Gray and Malley, that's almost $30 million. The whole bullpen basically becomes free agents. All right. So there's another, let's say 10. Not that the Rangers dumped a ton of money into their bullpen. And then if you don't re-sign Adolis Garcia, you do the same with Jonah Heim.
Right.
Well, there's probably another 15.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's approaching $55 million to part with in the offseason.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot better than last year.
Do you want to put it into one guy like Kyle Tucker, who would look pretty darn good in that lineup? Do you want to lump it into a starter? Merrill Kelly's not making a ton of money this year, and he's getting a little older, but he's still due a pretty good raise in free agency. Probably not for a ton of years either, though.
No,
so
right.
You wouldn't get tied down too long with him. Do you want to do that? Do you want to sign a closer? Do you want to put some money into the bullpen for once? A lot of possibilities, but again, I think this team is gonna look like a lot different.
Yeah, they're going to look a lot different. They won't. I mean, again, the core will still be there, right? I mean, you've got a pretty good core, but there needs to be a lot of change, and the people who want to see Adolis Garcia, sort of get the Nathaniel Lowe treatment in Washington. That's not right. And I don't think Nathaniel Lowe would have gotten that treatment here either. Guys who are significant contributors to your World Series championship, it's just DFAing them, and it doesn't. In the case of Garcia, it makes even less sense than what the Nationals, Rangers, right? You got to get something for this guy.
Yeah, and you look at the trade deadline, and the Rangers shipped off 6 pitching prospects,
right,
from what was already a thin farm system, at least at the upper levels, and now those prospects need to be recouped. Is that a word? Anyway, you need to restock the farm system, and trades are one way to do it.
Sure.
And I wouldn't be surprised if when Adolis Garcia is traded, if the Rangers get nothing but prospects.
Right.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
They can go elsewhere to find their outfield help. And we need and if you look in the farm system, really, I don't think Sebastian Walcott's going to be ready next year. I think he needs another year in the minors. If you look at similar players, Fernando Tatis Jr., for instance, was 19 in Double-A. He had another full year at Double-A and started a third year at Double-A before he was called up ultimately and became a star. So Walcott, you got to have a little more patience. Really, the only one who's ready is Freeman. I still like Dustin Harris a lot. He's athletic, probably a platoon player, though, is the thing. You need an everyday guy.
Yeah.
You want somebody who you can pencil in there, who you firmly believe is going to hit 25 to 30 home runs, play good defense, and get on base more than Adolis Garcia. He's got to be better than Adolis offensively. And the guy is Kyle Tucker.
Right.
But
right.
that one's going to get out of control, I think.
Yeah, I think it gets out of control. And then if you're paying that kind of money for him, you just don't have much flexibility for other things, which include bullpen and a starter. So, yeah, it'll be a very interesting offseason. And we'll have the whole offseason to talk about it with you, because we're going to continue, as we did last year, but you may be newer to the program. We're here all offseason long as well. So whatever happens in the Rangers world, we're here to talk about it. Up next, though, it's the baseball world that was maybe not jolted, but surprised a little bit to hear the commissioner's words last night. He's talking realignment, and so are we next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. But first, we're talking Cowboys trips. You can take one. And, man, when I was working at Channel 5, I really loved the Cowboys trip when I was on those, because, we were on the charter. We flew with the team. We went on Saturday, came back on Sunday, and you only had one story to do on the game. That's all I had to do. Very rarely did I only have one story to do. Now, this trip, it's not just 2 days, and you're going to like that. It's 3-4 days, I guess, 15, 16, 17, 4 days. And there is a lot to do in Las Vegas. None of it work for you, by the way. All of it fun. And so anyway, True Fan Travel is the partner that we have to put this Cowboys trip together. It's an all-inclusive. You're going to stay at the Mandalay Bay. You're going to get tickets to the Cowboys games and your plane tickets. Then you get to hang out with our crew. The likes of Jesse and the likes of Jeff, and of course, Pop, Clarence Hill. So it should be a great trip. We encourage you to, scan that QR code, get yourself involved in that Cowboys trip to play the Raiders in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and you got to represent
You
DLLS. I mean, and so you got to have the gear. You probably have it already from your freebie from the becoming a diehard, but go to store.allcitynetwork.com, because we got some new threads, and we want you to take advantage of those. And then if people say, "Hey, what's DLS?" Tell them what you hear, tell them what you know. And then people see my DLS and they're, "What's that?" I'll tell them, "Hey,
yeah,
so it's the
place to go,
hottest sports network in the Metroplex. Nobody covers the teams in DFW like
we do,
DLLS Sports." And so you need the gear to represent. Again, store.allcitynetwork.com.
All right. So in the interviews that the commissioner did at that Little League game last night, which I by the way, is such a cool thing. We're going to show some highlights, not from the game. We can't show those, but from some of the pregame stuff yesterday. That'll come in the cleanup segment. But that's such a cool deal, and I loved it. And anyway, Rob Manfred talked about a variety of things regarding the state of the game, and of course, none of them had anything to do with the potential work stoppage. So, we'll hope that any of these that Manfred is talking about are able to come true. But one of the things he talked about that got a lot of people's attention is realignment and expansion that would sort of necessitate or create an opportunity for realignment. We don't know for sure what the expansion would look like, but we feel pretty certain, Jeff, that Nashville would be one of the cities that gets a team. Yeah,
there you go, Jim Bowden, who former big league GM, now he's a big Cowboys fan, I believe.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah. Cowboys, Lakers, and Notre Dame. So he's kind of a front runner.
Oh, he's a front runner. Okay.
Anyway,
you like the Yankees too? Yeah.
Well, I don't think he can like an MLB team. Anyway, yeah. You look at the Southeast there, Nashville expansion. They seem to be the popular choice. Charlotte's on there too in the Mid-Atlantic. I wonder if they're not too close, proximity-wise, if there'd be territorial rights that would come into play at that point. Because if you add 2 more teams in the Eastern time zone, that's like more than half the league. Or, it's a lot of teams.
There's already not enough teams west of the Mississippi. That's true.
Right. I don't care for the idea of getting rid of the American.
Yeah, I see he's got it like conferences, kind of like the NFL.
Yeah. I don't like that. I want there needs to be a conference, 2 conferences, 2 leagues, whatever, who meet for the title. That's like basic stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Rangers don't need to be in the West anymore.
No, I liked that division: Kansas City and St. Louis, Houston, and the Rangers. I'm okay with that division.
It's definitely rivalry heavy.
Yeah,
you think that those games would get a lot of attention, and good attendance and all that stuff, but that needs to be remedied. You got to be a little more travel friendly here.
Yes,
especially for the West Coast teams, like
Seattle. Oh my God,
Seattle. The Angels, I don't care about because they don't do weekday getaway day games.
Yeah,
so they make their own bed and have to sleep in it.
Yeah,
but the other teams, you try to give them breaks whenever you can. But I think that it's not a bad idea, and if you do it, you add the 2 teams and you're up to 32. You're NFL like. So that's where you get the 4 team divisions and all of that stuff. But expansion is interesting. Salt Lake is a possibility. Which
USA
which
Today
I don't care for.
No, I don't either.
But if you want to, if you need travel partners for the teams out west, then maybe Salt Lake makes sense. I don't want Portland to get a team. I think that would, although that would help, the San Franciscos and the Seattles have somebody in between. But, and what about Montreal?
Right.
Montreal seems pretty hungry for a team. I know Orlando would like a team, which just makes no sense because Tampa's right there. But maybe if things don't work out on a stadium, maybe ultimately they go to Orlando.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe there's just some new markets, same franchises, new markets. But and then don't Oakland, it didn't work out. But maybe with a different ownership group and a different city council and mayor, maybe there could be another opportunity for Oakland to have baseball again.
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic, and baseball has been judicious and careful about expanding.
When was the last time they expanded? 90. I was in 90. I was in college. So the Rockies debuted in 93.
Okay.
And then maybe 95 it was with Arizona and somebody else.
Yeah, Arizona, and who added it? Oh, was it that when Miami came in?
Miami and Colorado, I thought, came in together.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
My
point is, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been, close to 30 years. So that's good. They aren't. They don't just expand every time you turn around or change markets, willy nilly at all. So that's a great thing. But there are always changes that could be made and some deficiencies, and certainly Texas and Houston being in the West is a big one. And to me, that's one of the main reasons to realign this thing. How can Texas and Houston be in there with, again, Angels and Mariners, and again, at least it's Vegas now and not San Francisco or Oakland, but those are some tough teams and some tough trips to play, especially when you play them as often as they do in your division game.
It was Tampa Bay was the other team.
Other one.
It's not. And this is something the commissioner talked about, the 10 p.m. time slot, 10 p.m. East Coast time slot.
Yeah.
So when the Yankees are in Anaheim, those games start at 10 o'clock Eastern time. That's tough for a lot of fans in the biggest market. It's also not great for fans on the West Coast.
No.
And for the teams who, get more limited exposure for those games. So that makes some sense. I just, but because you can't start games at like 5 because people are still at work.
Still at work, yeah.
It's a conundrum. There has to be something they can do to alleviate that. And then maybe this realignment becomes a concession for the smaller market teams who want some kind of payroll cap. Maybe at that point they will accept, maybe a little less overhead, maybe a little more attendance. If the Pirates and the Phillies, for instance, end up in the same division, that might help equal things out a little bit for the Pirates. And then maybe, and I saw some criticism of this, maybe the realignment puts these teams in better position to make the playoffs. Because every year it seems like in the NFL, you have a team that's under 500 or at 500 that wins the division,
right, and
makes the postseason. And then, you get all the postseason shares and whatnot. So maybe, if you lump the Pirates in with the Reds and 2 other teams that are shaky, maybe you get a team that's under 500 that makes the postseason,
right?
But gets a cut of a bigger cut of the revenue there at the end of the year.
Sure. And by the way, I'm new at this broadcasting thing. I didn't realize we were supposed to silence our phones.
Yeah,
maybe I forgot.
It's a rookie mistake.
Yeah,
John.
how about a rookie mistake from the vet over here? So anyway, I am a fan of realignment, but in order to really put my brain around it, we kind of need to know what the teams are.
Right.
But I don't think there's any doubt that one of them is Nashville. And I think logically, I hate to say it, but I think logically, because of what we were just saying, it makes sense to put one. If you're going to do Nashville, it makes sense to put one out, west somewhere, whether it be Portland or whether it be Salt Lake or something like that.
Well, the last time there was expansion, it was Colorado, Mountain Time Zone, Miami, Eastern Time Zone. Then it was Arizona, which is always the Mountain Standard Time.
Yeah.
For most of the baseball season or the whole baseball season is actually Pacific Daylight Time.
Right.
So, and Tampa. So again, the East. So there was the East-West split.
Yep.
Maybe that's what happens.
Yeah,
here.
They probably would need to. So that eliminates, like in Bowden's scenario, he had Carolina and Nashville getting in. In my, I think, perfect scenario, I would say Nashville, Montreal. I mean, Montreal is just such a great city. But again, it's another East time zone city. So I think you need to, again, as the last 2 expansions have shown us, you kind of need to have one out west. Still a discrepancy of the number of teams east compared to the number of teams west.
Yeah, and really, you look at the teams west of the cities west of the Mississippi that are large enough for a professional sports franchise, and it's like Portland, Salt Lake, Oklahoma City, and the Rangers don't want to give up their territory in Oklahoma.
No.
But I don't think the Mariners aren't going to want to give up their territory in Portland.
No.
And I don't know if Salt Lake gets Rockies games or if they get Arizona games or if they're going to be getting Vegas games. Vegas is probably closer to Salt Lake than Denver or Phoenix. So there's some issues that have to be worked out. Not to mention, you have to consider weather, and would it be a dome stadium in Salt Lake? Would it be a dome in Montreal? They're just things you got to...
Technically, what was the region of the Denver area where you grew up? Like, what did you get a team? Were you in one team's region per se?
No, I think that was before the
big region thing.
We had cable, so we got WGN,
Cubs and
Braves, and for a little while there we had the Mets on WOR.
Okay,
but yeah, we didn't have a team that we were limited.
Right,
but I think there were. My dad, for instance, was a Cardinals fan growing up.
Okay,
so
there's some proximity there. Yeah,
Kansas City. We in 1985, once the World Series went back to Kansas City, Game 6. We piled in my dad's car and drove to Kansas City and
and I forget
tickets.
Kansas City's closer to Colorado than St. Louis, right? St.
Oh,
Louis
yeah. St. Louis is on the other side.
Way on the other side of the state. Yeah. So anyway, realignment could happen, and Leon, Mexico City.
No way.
Yeah, look at Mexico City. I mean, I don't know. I don't think anybody wants any part of that right now, but they do like their sports in Mexico. There's no doubt about that. All right, let's keep an eye out for that. Let's also get to our cleanup segment next. As we mentioned Nathaniel Lowe a little earlier in the program, we'll tell you where he's headed next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. But first, it's time to become a diehard if you haven't already. What's the deal? What's the discount right now, Kat? Is there one? We're at $48. $48.
It's $4. Yeah, it's cutting out coffee one day a week.
Yeah.
Cutting out your Starbucks.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's so easy. It's so great. You get 20% off all of the things that we do, including that Cowboys trip that we were talking about. It's not silly pricey, but you're getting hotel rooms at the Mandalay Bay and a flight and Cowboys tickets. Those add up.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get 20% off of that by becoming a diehard, and we encourage you to do it. We're having an event up here on Monday night for some of our diehards,
next Monday.
Yep, next Monday, a week from today, and it's kind of Mavs centric, but it's a very cool type event. It's the likes of which we want to do more and more, and we'll make them available to our diehards. So become a diehard by scanning that QR code. You also get access to all the things Jeff and all the other guys write.
Yeah, we write pretty good stuff. At least the other three do. I don't know about me.
Yours is good.
If you enjoy reading about teams, and almost everything's behind a paywall these days from guys who are there and gals on a daily basis. So to get the most up to date, current, informed news, you got to pay for it somewhere. And at $48 plus 20% off our stuff, plus shirts, a free shirt.
Yeah,
it's crazy to not do it. And one note as we approach our 1 year anniversary, which is in 8 days, August 26th, 2024 is when we launch. So we got a big week planned. We're going to have some kick-ass guests and all that stuff. It's also, for some of you guys, going to be renewal week. So do not forget to renew next week and stay a diehard and keep that diehard card.
Yeah, we'd love for you to do that. Nathaniel Lowe, it appears, is signing with the Boston Red Sox, who once Rafael Devers decided he didn't want to play first base, Jeff, and they got rid of him, they just haven't had anybody really worth a damn to play first base.
Yeah, they had Tristan Casas, who blew up his leg early in the season, which was a blow because he's a pretty good on-base guy. And then, for the Red Sox to pick up what's left on Lowe's contract really is a drop in the bucket. They're a team that's already, I believe, surpassed the luxury tax and doesn't care too much. They care a little. But anyway, that good for him. He hits the ball the other way with power. So that green monster is going to be a good little target for him. And he performs well when he's in a good headspace. And I don't know that Washington was providing that. They obviously were not winning. They traded a lot of guys, and very clearly their future is not. The future is the priority,
right?
And so I could see where Nate would maybe think, ownership doesn't care here. I don't know if I want to be here. Maybe that bled over. I mean, he wasn't playing great. He has not had a good year. For everybody who laments him being gone from the Rangers because of the Rangers' current situation at first base, it's not like Nate Lowe was hitting 350.
No.
He's DFA'd for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think we haven't looked lately, but I think Berger's numbers are better, right?
And it was neck and neck for a while.
Yeah, for a long time it was. It may still be. And then you say, they traded Robert Garcia. Well, Robert's had a rough go lately, but he's he's got 2 more years of control, I think. I think
it's 3.
3 more.
He's still a pretty young pitcher.
Yeah,
and last year was his first full year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's going to develop. I mean, he's going to, and especially with Mike Maddox and the whole system there. he'll continue to develop, and it'll wind up, because I saw somebody on Twitter this week say, "Wow, the Lowe for Garcia trade was the only lose trade I've ever seen." I don't think. I think ultimately it'll be a win for the Rangers on that front.
Yeah, and I like Nathaniel a lot. I do.
I do too. I think some of the media maybe got a little crossways with him. I always got along great with him. I got to meet his parents and interview them, at the time when the two Lows were playing against each other at the major league level for the first time. I like the whole family.
Yeah, I hope things turn around for him. You kind of look at him, and he's not the he probably needs to get in a little better shape in the off season.
Sure.
He still just hasn't hit for the power, which doesn't make sense. Maybe he needs a lighter bat. I know there was a discussion about that with him and the Rangers. He stayed with the heavier bat. He still is going to hit the ball to left field. But the power, it's pull power. You watch Nate Lowe take batting practice.
Yeah,
he just is hitting rockets.
He hits,
and so if he can get it to translate, he hit the 27 home runs, in whatever it was, 22, I think, when he was the Silver Slugger Award winner.
Yeah,
and just hasn't lived up to that since. But he's still relatively young. He's just got married the last off season. He's got a lot of things going for him, and again, he's about to sign with a contender.
Yeah.
So, again, this might be the thing that sparks.
Yeah, motivate him in a big way, no doubt about that. So that Little League, the game that's played at the home in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, of the Little League World Series, that was last night, and it was the Mets and the Mariners. And good news, the Mets took 2 out of 3 from the Mariners this weekend, by the way. But one of the traditions at that thing is to have the kids do this all during the Little League World Series. They grab cardboard and they essentially go sledding down the hill like you would in the winter in Denver or in Michigan, right? You go sledding, but they sled on sort of what becomes burned out grass on cardboard. Well, the major league players wanted to give it a try. So Julio Rodriguez was among those who went sledding pregame yesterday.
There goes Achilles. I'm okay.